Good morning again to everybody here watching. Appreciate you joining me this morning. We have the next story of chapter 38, the Courtyard. So we're still in the middle of actually making the things that, we were told how things were going to be made, and now we're in the middle of actually making them. So it is kind of repetitive, but that's why I come up with some questions for you guys to talk about. For anybody who's watched all the videos where we've described what's being created already. Today's question, and the last one that I have that I actually can think of a way to elaborate on a little bit, is uh, now this one might seem a little odd, so just bear with me. But what is your opinion about swearing or cussing? So, obviously it's in mature rated things. I mean, the more swear words you have, the higher the rating's going to be. Sorry, I'm just opening my little snack. And the worse the apparent swear word, the worse rating it's going to get. Now, some people cut it off at that. Me, swearing to me is also, swearing using God's name in vain. When somebody says like a different form of, God or Jesus, and you're not, using it in a respectful way, or, praying to him, actually talking with him. If it's just used as an exclamation out in the daily world, that to me is worse than using like a cuss word, other, whatever cuss word you can think of. Now, some people might disagree with me. Some people might have a very different opinion about it, but that's why we want to talk about it. I've heard before that like cussing and swearing, it's kind of, your own personal thing, and this is something that I actually haven't talked to like my pastor or anybody else about recently. So I do want to bring it up to him again. But I've heard in the past that cussing can be, it's kind of like a, do you think it's a sin? Do you think you're using it in a way that is sinful? And then if yes, then it is a sin. But if you're using it in a way where I don't know, I mean, I don't know how you could justify it not being that way if you're actually using it in a way that's like what the word is used for. So, to um, like hell is a place. So if you're talking about hell as a place, as it does in the Bible, you're not cussing. It's like it's the proper use of the word. To like damn somebody is to like curse them to like hell. That's what that is. So it's just, if you're using it in a certain connotation, me, I don't cuss that often. I used to a lot. I thought like going through into high school, it was a terrible thing. So I try never to do it because that's how I was raised. Then I got into high school and it kind of fell into that, everybody's doing it around me. So you kind of adapt to what you're around. And then that's when it started to happen. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I saying these things? And but it just got gradually less and less important for me to try to avoid talking like that, and it kept up and it got worse. And then it wasn't until I actually think I met my fiance that I actually started to dial it back in. So she definitely helped me with that, because it's not a nice, whether or not you think it's a sin or wrong to do it, it's not a nice way to talk. You don't want to just throw cuss words into every sentence that you say. It's hard for me to watch movies that have, if you're watching an R-rated movie and they drop like really bad cuss words very frequently, it's just kind of like, why is it necessary? Why do you have to put it in there? Just try to make a movie without it. It kind of, I don't know. To me, it's speech is more meaningful without words that are just like filler words or something that makes it more effortless. Some people have said that it emphasizes how strongly you feel about something if you're cussing about it, which I can see to a degree. Don't know if it's right or not, but I can see that to a degree. But when you're saying it in every sentence and it's not an important sentence, then you're definitely not doing it that way. Um, so anyway, those are my thoughts about cussing and or swearing, and also taking the Lord's name in vain. That is the one that really bugs me, and I can't stand it when people do it around me. And I try to correct kids at school who do it because they're not raised any differently. So it seems to be a losing battle because religion has just become less important to people, and they just don't care anymore. Um, but to me, that's something I just don't like to hear. Uh, Grew up that way, and I just think that it's very accurate. Um, So please let me know what you think about, cussing and or swearing. Um, Anything and everything that you have on it. I'm just open to listening. Courtyard. We have verses 9 through 20. Like I said, going through into chapter 38 a little bit more. Forgive me. And we're not done yet. Nope, we have one more tomorrow that'll finish off chapter 38. So we're still in the middle of chapter 38. All right, starting in verse 9. Next, they made the courtyard. The south side was 100 cubits long and had curtains of finely twisted linen, with 20 posts and 20 bronze bases, and with silver hooks and bands on the posts. The north side was also 100 cubits long and had 20 posts and 20 bronze bases, with silver hooks and bands on the posts. The west end was 50 cubits wide and had curtains with 10 posts and 10 bases, with silver hooks and bands on the posts. The east end toward the sunrise was also 50 cubits wide. The curtains 15 cubits long were on one side of the entrance with 3 posts and 3 bases, and curtains 15 cubits long were on the other side of the entrance to the courtyard with 3 posts and 3 bases. All the curtains around the courtyard were of finely twisted linen. The bases for the posts were bronze. The hooks and bands on the posts were silver, and their tops were overlaid with silver. So all the posts of the courtyard had silver bands. The curtain for the entrance to the courtyard was made of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and finely twisted linen, the work of an embroiderer. It was 20 cubits long, and like the curtains of the courtyard, 5 cubits high, with 4 posts and 4 bronze bases. Their hooks and bands were silver, and their tops were overlaid with silver. All the 10 pegs of the tabernacle and of the surrounding courtyard were bronze. So there you go. We have the dimensions and the materials for the courtyard. Nothing to really elaborate on that. You can go back and reread it if you want. Look it up in the Bible or look it up online if you want to, kind of map it out yourself. But those are the dimensions, materials, and kind of how the tabernacle looked. That everything, or the courtyard, I'm sorry, not the whole tabernacle. The courtyard that's holding everything inside of it is going to look. All right. Thanks for bearing with me today through my question. I know it's a little bit of a different one, but I am still curious to see what you guys think. So, feel free to comment, talk about it with other people, and let me know what they say. And I will see you again tomorrow morning.